Don't you just love this question? Yeah, sometimes it's so hard to answer. It's a make or break question. It defines who you are in those first critical 7 seconds. Should you spill your life story? Should you tell them something vague? Should you tell them the last time you tripped on the stairs? Let's solve this problem. Let's watch this video and unlock the golden answer to this golden question. The answer that is charismatic, memorable, and ideal for any situation. But first, how not to answer. Yes, we're starting with the don'ts. Well, for starters, don't be a deer in the headlights. This is when they ask you the question and you say, or look away, or I don't know. Basically, your deer in the headlights mode gets activated. Don't make that mistake. Secondly, don't spill your life story. This is the complete opposite direction of the deer in the headlights scenario. Most people just don't care about your birthplace or star sign when they ask this question. Most people want a sketch, and you're giving them this, or maybe even this. TMI. You may see the person slowly walking away and acting all polite when they're actually disinterested. And lastly, don't be oddly vague. Don't answer the question by saying, "Oh, I work on all kinds of stuff. Oh, I've been doing a lot. I try to keep busy." They asked you a question, and by not answering, you come off as mysterious, best case scenario, or boring and incompetent, worst case scenario. Why take that risk? Also, you're basically giving them this. Okay, now what should you do? Here is how you nail the question, tell me about yourself, in 3 easy steps. Step number 1 is to add a positive qualifier. The best way to set yourself up for success. Hype up the moment. Reel them in by saying something like, "Let's see, I'll skip to the good parts," or "So many exciting things have happened recently." Starting with the positive qualifier primes them and lets you give them the juiciest highlights. This avoids mistake number 2 of explaining your life story. All you need to do now is deliver, and here's how. Step number 2 is to give yourself a label. Instead of diving straight into "I teach science," you may want to start with "I'm a teacher." Why? Because we love labels. At an early age, we began to label things. We realized that some types of food are called fruit. We realized that some of these fruits are called apples. We realized that some of these things called apples are red, yellow, and green. And then we go through the parts of an apple, like the peel and the stem and the seeds. We learn from top to bottom. We make sense of hierarchy. So label yourself. What label makes you most proud? It can be your profession, or it can be something more personal. What are your favorite labels? Step number 3 is to tell a story with a hook. The reason why tell me about yourself doesn't really work is because a lot of people don't engage with stories. No, they actually start listing things like, "Well, I do this and live here and like this." Most people just list a bunch of facts. And unfortunately, most people don't really like listening to facts. Unless this is a business meeting and you have impressive sales numbers, then it is actually improper to be listing facts. It's a social skills crime because you are throwing away a perfect opportunity to tell a story. And everyone loves a good story. Telling one serves 2 purposes. 1, you're saving time because your story should take less than a minute. Or 2, you're offering hooks. There's nothing worse than answering a question and getting a "oh" in return. A good story has hooks. Places where the other person can relate and tell their own story, keeping the conversation flowing smoothly. Bonus, if you want to avoid the awkward silence at the end, then say something like, "How about you?" Typically, you should try to end on a question, but if you've already told a really good story, then they should already be asking you a question. The biggest takeaway from this video is that if someone ever asks you a question that makes you feel uncomfortable, come up with a framework for it. Questions like "Where are you from?" or "What do you do?" always pop up in our lives. The most important thing is to be purposeful. We are constantly bombarded with questions like this every day. Spending some time to come up with answers will showcase your best self. Thank you for watching this video. For more videos like this, please consider subscribing to the Success Bistro.